I mean, look, I wasn't super into this trial, but if I was, I would have watched you. I don't know why I would have to turn into these tabloids or whatever. It sounds like you're doing a much better job than a lot of these people. And we didn't just want to talk about this. I was actually curious for your reaction to Amber Heard's attorney's first interview over on CNN. She blames social media for the verdict. Let's take a listen. We're going to get your reaction afterwards.
Is there any way to see this verdict in any other way than the jury simply did not believe Amber?
You know, there's no question that influence was there. It's kind of strange because it was a mixed verdict as well, which suggests that they did believe at least some. And it seems we would call that messy more than inconsistent, I think, but possibly that. But I think really what happens here is it is kind of a throwback to an earlier time when it was automatic that when a woman said, I have been the victim of domestic violence, she's just not believed. Oh, Johnny, we know Johnny, he would never do that. And that's kind of what we got here. Now, remember that we had another trial back in the UK, same issues. Lots more evidence came in on that one. And what Mr. Depp's team apparently learned from that is this time demonize Amber and suppress as much evidence as you can.
Your reaction, Alita, what do you think?
Well, if she's trying to point to social media and TikTok and YouTube as to blame for anything in this trial, I would simply point to Amber Heard's legal team because they were the ones that brought in all of the hashtags as evidence through their expert, through one of their data experts. And the jury arguably would not have known of the Amber Turd hashtag, the Justice for Johnny Depp hashtag, or any of the others if it had not been for their questioning of their own direct examination of their own expert witness. So, an argument can be made that it's very difficult, of course, for the jury to stay away from the public, to stay away from the news, to stay away from social media on a case like this, because this case, of course, was everywhere, all around the world. Mm-hmm. And we've had conversations on my channel also with me and other attorneys about just how much we trust jurors to follow the rules of a particular case. But call me naive, but I do think that at the very least, the majority of those jurors probably took those rules to heart and really did their best to stay away from the media coverage of this case while it was pending, because they're giving up a month and a half to 2 months of their lives for this case. And they understand the high stakes and the money and the life that is at stake between these two parties and the importance of the allegations involved. So typically, it's my opinion that a jury is going to pay attention to that and take that very seriously.
Yeah.
The other part of Taylor's article is she sort of insinuates that, this decision was wrongly made or was the wrong decision, and she uses your sort of monetary incentives to frame like, oh, they were coming in on this one side because that was where the money was, and there's kind of an insinuation in there that may have influenced the outcome of the trial, as Amber Heard's attorney says there more directly. But there's no even attempt to engage with any of the legal analysis. It's all just sort of a smearing of the motives and a raising of nefarious intent, rather than actually dealing with the legal specifics of the case. Which I am not a lawyer. I didn't follow this case at all, so I have no opinion whatsoever whether this was wrongly or rightly decided. I genuinely don't know and am agnostic. But I did want to ask you, Alita, because the case that was made on the other side that I saw, prominently among a lot of liberals, though not uniformly, was that this was a sort of blow for survivors of domestic abuse, that people were going to feel like they couldn't speak out when they, suffered from abuse, and that it would kind of chill the ability of women to come, or anyone who suffers from physical violence in a relationship, to be able to come forward. What did you make of that argument? Do you think there's any merit to that?
Well, I think that there's always going to be a concern one way or another about that coming out of a trial like this. But I do think, number one, as far as the argument that all of these channels, including my own, are overwhelmingly pro Johnny Depp, I can't speak to other channels, but I can say that for my channel, the panel of lawyers that I had, the vast majority of them came into this trial knowing little to nothing about the underlying facts or the arguments in the case. And actually, in the first couple days, they said to me at the end of the trial day, they said on air, they were like, I don't think he's going to win because defamation cases are very difficult for any public figure to win. And this one, he has a huge mountain to climb. And I remember telling them, I knew a lot of the underlying facts because I had been spending the last month researching it. And I told them, I said, just wait and watch. And one by one, they all started to end up in Johnny Depp's camp just because of the facts that were laid out in front of them. And they all played devil's advocate because these are all practicing lawyers, licensed attorneys that are in the habit of poking and prodding both sides of a particular argument, especially when it comes to litigation or a trial. So as far as that is concerned, I very much push against that. And I think that is just another example of someone who has decided to write about my coverage of this trial without actually looking at the content that's on my channel. But as for the other aspects, the Justice for Johnny Depp community, what I have noticed is that there are a lot of domestic violence survivors, both male and female. And I think that what this message actually sends is that the male domestic violence survivors now have a chance of having their voices heard because, statistically speaking, I think that it's true. Women do make up a larger portion of domestic violence survivors from what I have heard and what I have seen. However, men still make up a certain portion of that. And men have a tendency to not be believed even more than women because of all kinds of stigma around gender, masculinity, femininity, all of those kinds of things. So I think that if anything, this sends more of a signal that men have a fighting chance, possibly, maybe. And when it comes to Amber Heard, she is not a representative of domestic violence survivors. She is a representative of someone who is trying to defraud the experience of real, legitimate domestic violence survivors, and she should be placed in a category all on her own.
I think that's really interesting. So last thing, I know that you have a charity stream that you're doing for Children's Hospital. Why don't you shout that out before we let you go?
Yeah, so on June 11th on my channel, I will be hosting, along with Rick Hogue of Hogue Law, another YouTube lawyer. So we will be hosting on my channel a charity stream for the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. That is one of the two charities that Amber Heard was supposed to donate her entire $7 million divorce settlement from Johnny Depp. Half of it was supposed to go to the ACLU, half of it to Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. So they were kind of
sounds like
wronged, you could say.
Yeah.
Exactly. They were sidestepped in this whole thing. So one of the things that we wanted to do is to sort of give back for all of the love and appreciation that we've gotten from viewers and whatnot, is to sort of give back for this charity stream. So we'll be hosting it on June 11th, and I'm really looking forward to having a bunch of people show up.
Great idea.
Awesome. Well, it's great to talk to you. And by the way, I watched some, not all of your content, and it seemed to me like you were really trying to evaluate the issues in a fair-minded kind of a way. People should go and look at your channel, Legal Bytes, for themselves and judge, what they think of your content. We encourage people to do that. Thank you so much, Alita, for taking the time. It's great to meet you.
Thank you, Alita.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Tomorrow's the official 1 year anniversary. 1 year since we actually did a show and all of that. I know a lot of 1 year stuff. We've got some announcements that are coming tomorrow. Thank you all to everybody so much for the support. It just absolutely means the world. Link is down there in the description, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Love y'all. See you tomorrow. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.